Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. And in place of doing Disney news, because we got really busy and didn't end up doing another video, so in place of doing our Disney news, I actually decided to do something a little different today. So before we get into our video, make sure if you are not subscribed to the channel, you hit that subscribe button down below, and make sure you leave us a like and a comment and let us know how we're doing, and let us know any Disney-related subjects you would like us to cover. So, what I kind of wanted to talk about, and I ran this by Anna a little bit ago, is I kind of wanted to talk about the subject that's on like every Disney lover's mind right now, and anybody who has ever wanted to go to Disney World is, should you go to Disney World right now? And because of the pandemic and all the new rules that they have to have in place and everything, it has kind of come up in a lot of circles, like, is it worth it to go right now? You know? And so I just kind of wanted to talk about that for a little bit. So, so right now, with all the restrictions and everything, do you think it's worth it for? Okay, let's start with this. Do you think it's worth it for? Would be worth it for us to go right now, regardless of everything?
Yes.
That's kind of how I thought about it.
I mean, I think it's very conditional, though, as to like. I don't think it's a blanket statement. I think there's several things to consider when it comes to individually.
So I think that's the problem that like everybody's been having right now, is that everyone is trusting that blanket statement of, oh, it's not a good idea to go to Disney, or oh, it is a good idea to go to Disney, when it's really a matter of each individual person. Because for us, it would be worth it because of our love for Disney, and because like our plan is to renew our annual passes. And things like that, and plus because we've already been there 3 times.
Yeah, so I would say if you've been there before, or if you're planning on going again after, I think this is a good time to go. Yeah. Just because you have a different perspective of the parks.
And it's not like you may not be missing out on something that you haven't already done, because there's still a lot of stuff that's closed, but a lot of that may be stuff that you've already done. Like for us, all the stuff that's closed, with the exception of like the restaurants and stuff, are things that we've already done. Right. For the most part.
Or things that we're not necessarily interested in.
Yeah, or like, that's not like on our bucket list, like we will do eventually, but it's not make or break for us.
Because I think the biggest draw right now to going is the low wait times, and they are getting higher right now.
Yeah, they've been getting really high recently.
Just because they're allowing more people in, they've opened more availability.
A little bit more. And they still haven't hit 50%, but they're up at like 30 or 35.
And also people are more willing to travel now. They're beginning to feel a little more comfortable with it. Yeah. And so those wait times are going up, but they're nowhere near pre-COVID levels. No. So for like us, standing in a 45-minute line is not going to kill us, because we've been there when these rides are sitting at 180 minutes and things like that. Yeah,
we've been there when there's been a 150-minute wait for Slinky Dog Dash and a 140-minute wait for what was that other one?
Swirling Saucers?
No, it wasn't Swirling Saucers. It was in Magic Kingdom. Seven Dwarfs Mine Train.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We've been there when there's been excruciating waits.
Like you walk past and there's this whole line of people that's outside of the queue, and they have to have a cast member standing out there with a line saying, line starts here, 100 and something minutes.
Which they are still having to do because of the social distancing. The lines look really crazy. But I also think because there are no meet and greets and there's none of the shows and things like that. Yeah. Really, what else do you have to spend your time on? It's a great opportunity if you've been there before and you just want to get on some rides. Maybe get on some rides that have been crazy and you haven't been able to get onto previously. This is a great opportunity for that.
Yeah, and it's also just a good opportunity to see the parks less crowded than they normally are.
Yeah, I get some of those pictures and those awesome shots of the castle without, dozens of people in front of it.
Yeah. But if this is a thing where this is like once in a lifetime trip, you're only ever going to do it once, maybe one other time in another like 10 years. No,
don't do it. Wait,
it's not worth it right now.
Yeah, wait till things are back to normal, because then,
or at least closer.
Yeah. Because right now you have very limited dining choices. You have no character meet and greets. You don't have the full parades. You don't have the fireworks shows. And really all you would be doing when you go there is riding rides.
And that's not why you go to Disney.
No.
You go to Disney for the entire experience, and you're not getting the entire experience, especially if this is a once-in-a-lifetime thing.
Yeah. It's not something... If I was never going to be able to go again, I wouldn't go right now.
No, definitely not.
The reduced wait times and the reduced park occupancy is not worth how much you'd be missing out on in a once-in-a-lifetime trip.
Exactly. So, I think the bottom line is, if this is a once-in-a-lifetime trip for you, or if you are concerned, have any sort of concerns or reservations about traveling, don't go.
Yeah.
But if you are more confident traveling, or if you can drive down or something like that, and this is not a once-in-a-lifetime trip, this is just, you're once a year or a couple times, because even if you go once a year, I think it'd still be fine.
Yeah, I think, because like I said, this trip would really be a trip to ride rides, which admittedly, even in all of our trips, we really don't get to hit as many rides as we'd probably like to.
Just because we're off doing other things too.
Yeah, there's so many other things to do. There's so much other dining to do. And
there are times that we spend days just doing nothing, like in Magic Kingdom, doing nothing but playing Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom and then shopping.
And the other reason that we also don't necessarily get on as many rides is we basically plan our rides around fast passes,
right,
or slow times like rope drop, closing, and fireworks. Which you're not getting right now.
You can't really do anymore.
So and so because of that, it's really, if this is a once in a lifetime trip, or even if it's your first trip, that's one of the other things, is this might be kind of off-putting.
I would not want this to be somebody's first trip.
Because, it's just going to seem like just a Mickey Mouse theme park at this point.
And it's really not.
Yeah, there's so much more to it, but you're missing out on all of that right now. But if this is one of your annual or biannual trips, it's a great opportunity to get on some of those rides you may not normally get on.
Right.
Just because the wait times are going to be reduced.
And also just to get a different experience than you would normally get because of the low crowd levels and the different closures and stuff. It's different.
And and something to keep in mind if you're like on the fence right now because you're looking at the app and looking at those wait times, a lot of the people in the annual pass holder groups are saying that the wait times are highly exaggerated.
Yes.
And I think that they're using those pre-COVID measurements, like if the line is out to here, this is about how long your wait is, even though there's a social distancing
aspect. It's not only that, but they're giving themselves some extra time to be like, okay, we're going to have to stop every so often, or this number of cars, and sanitize everything, because they'll go through on the trains on say Big Thunder Mountain or something like that.
On all of their rides, it's every so many
they'll go through and sanitize the entire thing, the seats, the handles, the pole bars, all of it. And that process can take about 10 minutes. Before
I don't know if that's what they're still doing as a process. It was every other train set they would run on various rides. So they would run on so boat rides is a better example maybe. So they'd load a boat. They'd sanitize the boat that just left, the people just got off of, and they'd run that one through empty to dry. So they were loading every other boat and sanitizing every other boat, and they were doing that with trains and so on the roller coasters. They were doing that with the trains, and any of those kind of rides. They were doing every other one, and so they would sanitize one set, and allow a ride on the second set, sanitize ride, and then it would reverse as it came back through. You would get into the empty one because it was already sanitized and dried out. So
I think the bottom line is, don't listen to the blanket statement of, oh, you shouldn't go or you should go. Go by your individual situation.
You're gonna have to weigh the pros and cons of your situation. Granted, there are a lot of people that I'm seeing in the group saying this was my first trip and it was amazing, I'm so glad I went. But I just really think it depends on your personal perspective. If you have a husband who's saying, I don't want to spend the money to go, now is not the time.
Definitely not, because they're going to think it's not worth it.
Yes. So if you're skeptical by any means of Disney itself, now's not the time to go, because you're going to miss a lot of that magic.
Right.
And it's going to put a bad taste in
Yeah.
whoever it is mouth
Right.
about Disney, and I think there's so much more to Disney than just riding the rides, but that's really what you're getting right now is rides.
Yeah.
So I think it really just depends on your individual situation, and you got to weigh all those pros and cons. And the app is a good tool right now because it does show you what's open, what's closed.
Yep.
Don't bank on those wait times. Like I said, there was somebody who was like, yeah, the wait time said 80 minutes, but I only stood in line for like 45.
Yes, they will exaggerate them to
Make it
keep people from getting angry about it.
If they do go over.
If it, yeah. Oh, it said it was 20 minutes, but I waited in line for 30 minutes because there are some people that do that.
Yes. So I know why they exaggerate it. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying, like, don't bank on those super high numbers. Like, you're going to have some leniency in that. The lines are going to look crazy, but they're really not because you got that 6-foot distancing between each party. So.
Yeah, so that's just kind of something I wanted to kind of talk about today. So, we'll be back next week with our new Disney Plus project video.
Yep.
So, thank you all for joining us this week, and we hope to see you all again next week. But until then, don't forget to thank the Phoenicians.